Hey everybody, welcome to the Blue Lotus Awakening channel. I'm your girl Nell, and thank you so much for subscribing and for liking this channel. If you are interested in subscribing and you have not already done so, please go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and push that subscribe button and the notifications bell so that you will be alerted every time Nail comes on to the Blue Lotus Awakening channel. I hope you are having a fantastic February. Happy Black History Month to you. This February, we are striving to reach that 1,000 subscriber mark. So please help us with that challenge. Welcome, welcome, welcome. As you may have already noticed, the title or the topic of this podcast is Sex, Love, and Marriage, Jehovah's Witness Style. Isn't that interesting? Love, sex, and marriage. Jehovah's Witnesses really complicate things when it comes to love, when it comes to sex, when it comes to dating. All of those things, intimacy, Jehovah's Witnesses really have to have a hand in every single aspect of their congregants' lives. That's just the way it is. It's been this way since Jehovah's Witnesses were incorporated as a religion way back in the early 20th century. Jehovah's Witnesses have to have their hand in every single thing that their members do, from what they eat, what they wear, wearing beards, not wearing beards, the type of association or friends that they may have, how to treat your loved ones if they decide they no longer want to be a part of the organization. Jehovah's Witnesses, the governing body, has their hand in every aspect of a Jehovah's Witness life. But first, they will tell you that no, you have choices. There are choices you can make. You have free will. You can do as you please, but not necessarily so. As one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you have to stick to what the governing body dictates for you to do. And it is no different in the areas of love, dating, sex, and marriage. Now, every Jehovah Witness who is born into, or who may be born into the religion or raised in a religion, every Jehovah's Witness kid is taught that sex before marriage is a no, a definite no. Dating before you are ready or at the age of being able to get married is a no. And the whole structure of a marriage happens to be located in the Bible, where Jehovah's Witnesses believe that God is the head. Jesus Christ is also the head. And then you have a situation where you have elders, then you have ministerial servants, then you have husbands and everybody else. The structure is set up as a patriarchy, and it's an all male-led organization. So right there, you can already tell that within a marriage, the woman's role is a submissive, subservient one. So when you grow up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you learn what the hierarchy is. You also discover that when it comes to marriage and dating and love and sex, some of those things do not go together, do not belong together. Some of those things cannot be truly cultivated or nurtured to bring forth success in the other areas, such as when it comes to marriage. If you are not allowed to date as a Jehovah's Witness youth, and you can only date someone with the interest to marry them, then you are really placed in a position where your dating pool is small, your experience at dating is very, very small, if not super limited. Your experiences of interacting with the opposite sex is limited. And excuse me, your knowledge of sex is greatly limited and hampered because you have no idea of what the male female dynamic is outside of what you've read in the Bible that the Apostle Paul pointed out, as I said, of what the hierarchy or the religious structure of, or order of things goes in the Jehovah's Witness organization. So, as I said before, the hierarchy is patriarchal, it's all male led, and in many ways, in many forms, it is misogynistic. So, if you are a woman in the Jehovah's Witness organization, you've grown up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, as I did. You already see men as leaders in the congregation. You already know that these men will have some type of authority in your life already, because you have your dad, who's probably an elder ministerial servant who exercises some type of authority over you. Then you have the elders and ministerial servants who exercise some type of authority over you. And when you get married, your husband will also do the same. So any type of voice or opinion that you may have as a Jehovah's Witness who is a female, you're really being stifled. You don't have an opinion, you don't have any rights. So when you enter into the dating world, you're entering it at a disadvantage. How is that? Well, first of all, you're not going to be doing the selecting when it comes down to meeting a mate and when it comes down to dating. All of that's left up to the Jehovah Witness male. He's the one that gets to select who is good enough to date and who he wants to be, or who he wants to date or potentially become his wife. So the whole thing of women, Jehovah Witness women pursuing brothers and things of that nature, it happens, but it's really frowned upon. More than likely, Jehovah's Witness women are at the beck and call of the Jehovah Witness male or the Jehovah Witness man. So whatever he wants to accomplish, that is what the Jehovah Witness sister has to rely on, and that's what she has to go on. Now, you can have a situation where a Jehovah Witness sister will see someone that she likes or she's interested in, and she may make certain moves to get to know him, to, let's say, date him, sort of, by, planning field service dates of and things of that nature. However, it ultimately is up to the man, the brother, of whether or not he wants to date this sister. Now, I have seen it happen because it's happened to myself. It's happened to me. And I've been in situations where I have liked a brother and wanted to get to know him. And for whatever reason, the brother, already has a harem of girlfriends that he's seeing, or he's just decided that, no, I don't like you. So what should a sister do in that area when there's someone that she really, really likes and she may have fallen in love with this person? What should she do? Well, if the brother doesn't like her, she can't pursue him. She can't convince him to date her. She has no power in that situation outside of what you would see others do who are in the world, which would be to woo that man to bring him into her life. In the Jehovah Witness sister world, it doesn't work like that. You do not get to put yourself out there to date, to be selected. You can't really place yourself in a situation where you can be seductive, where you can, be competitive. No, none of that happens. None of that is optional to a Jehovah Witness sister. You have some Jehovah Witness women who have been picked over, overlooked for years, and who end up being single Jehovah Witness sisters, or old maids, or what used to be called an old settler, women who have never married and will never marry, because the person that they loved or that they like or were interested in, they could not really pursue them because that person pursued someone else. And with the ratio of Jehovah Witness men as opposed to women, just like in the real world or outside world, men are the pickings are slim, very, very slim. And so the way Jehovah's Witnesses operate when it comes to marriage, love, and sex, you cannot go outside of the organization to find someone. You cannot date the young man at your job that is eyeing you. You cannot go on these dating websites. You can't go on social apps like Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, uh, Tinder, Grinder, any of those things, dating.com. You can't do any of those things because you have been taught that you can only date and marry people who are Jehovah's Witnesses like yourself. So if I'm saying to you that there are slim pickings within the organization as far as men, eligible men to marry, then if there's someone that you really, really like, and you vibe with them, but that brother doesn't pick you, well, then what happens next? To say that you have to move on is kind of asinine, because it's not that you have to move on, because you really haven't really arrived when you actually think about it. Dating and being one of Jehovah's Witnesses is like a challenge. It's like one of those challenges that you see on TV, like the what is that called? The Squid Games or something like that. Road rules. It's a serious, serious challenge. It's cutthroat out here, and it's cutthroat because I would say that to one Jehovah Witness brother who's eligible, and when I mean eligible, what sisters are looking for is the Jehovah Witness brother who is on his way to being a ministerial servant, which means that he is a pioneer already, or he's already a ministerial servant. So when you're looking for that caliber of brother, the pickings are very, very slim. Okay, very, very slim. And if you're looking at that brother in your congregation, you're like, oh, he's eligible, I want to talk to him. Trust and believe he's already has his eye on somebody else that's either in your congregation or in your circuit. And he probably has his eye on 3 or 4 different people and not you. 9 times out of 10, most brothers who are eligible and of marriage age, they are not looking for the sisters in their congregation. They're just not. And it has a lot to do with the familiarity or the family type of feeling that each congregation has that makes that brother feel as if, well, I know her. She's not exciting because I've seen her at her best. I've seen her at her worst. So I don't want that. I want to get this sister that I saw at the assembly or the convention, and she seems exciting. So let me talk to her. That's usually how it works. Unfortunately, for a lot of women, a lot of sisters, the brothers that they like and that they want to become involved with within their congregation are not checking for them. And on top of that, they end up being the old maids or the old settlers, or just the single women of the congregation who eventually becomes the mules of the congregation, which means that They are the ones that are going out field service and doing all the heavy lifting, all the Bible studies, all of the things within the congregation, and not getting any rewards for it. When it comes to a lot of sisters fall into the category where they want to be married. They desire to be married. They want to have sex. They want to have children. They see themselves as wives and mothers. And after a while of out here, going back and forth to conventions, assemblies, and kingdom halls and going from state to state to state, and to check out different congregations, eventually these sisters become disenchanted with the whole dating process. And so what do? These are the ones that you find who become attracted to the dating pool outside of the organization. And I don't blame them, because I was one of those people. I met my husband. He was a worldly guy. He was raised in the truth, but we didn't know each other. We never had any interaction. Probably our fathers did, but we really did not know each other on that level like that, as Jehovah Witness kids. So I met him. He had just came home from college, and I met him through a friend. And that was after my experience as a Jehovah Witness girl trying to date. Because, when you are raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, the next thing after high school for everybody, for Jehovah, especially Jehovah Witness girls, is to get married and have children, because that's what you see inside the congregation. The bad part about this is what you don't see is you do not see love. You do not see true dating. You do not see intimacy between two people, and now I'm not talking about sex, physicality. What I'm talking about is you don't see any holding hands. You don't see any kissing. You don't see the elements that makes up a good, strong relationship or a good, strong, healthy marriage. You don't get to see those things. All you know are the technicalities of being a woman or being a man. And the technicality is the next step after getting a formal education is to get married and to create a family within the congregation, within that community. Now, sometimes it does work where two people, they are attracted to each other and they decide, to date with the in view of marriage, and then they get married. Many times those couples are very young. They've never had any experience with dating. They have no experience of the opposite sex. They have no social skills, really, because Jehovah's Witnesses believe that you can only be sociable and communicable towards other Jehovah's Witnesses. And that is limited too, because it's limited between the sexes. So you really don't know anything about men unless you have a father and some brothers, but you really don't know about men. You don't have any experience with being with you have no experience with men, but you also have no experience about what it means to be a woman in the company of men that you love or that you like or that you are attracted to. So many times young people who are Jehovah's Witnesses, they get together, they start dating, they're already under pressure within the congregation. Once people begin to find out that they're dating, they're already under pressure to keep it kosher, keep it clean, keep it, to keep the relationship at a certain level where there is really, no sexual interaction. And then after a certain amount of time, the pressure intensifies because the congregation wants you or see you as a couple moving towards getting married. And 9 times out of 10 or 10 times out of 10, that's what this dating experience is going to be about. Now, there are occasions when the dating experience doesn't work and the two people go their separate ways. That has happened. However, 10 times out of 10, most people in the congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses that date, they end up getting married. Now, when you have a couple who is young and they get married and they really don't have any experience with the opposite sex, they really don't know too much about sex itself. They think they are in love, okay, because they really don't know what love is. They have no concept of it. They haven't been taught by their mothers or their aunts or the women in the congregation about love. All they know are the technicalities of being a wife. They know that they're supposed to be submissive to their husbands. They know that they're supposed to take care of the home and the children according to the scriptures. But they don't know anything else about being a woman. They don't know anything else about love. So they enter into this situation unprepared for what marriage has in store for them, unprepared with the realities of being a woman inside of a marriage and a relationship. And many times these women or these sisters find themselves trapped in a marriage that's not sustainable, trapped in a marriage that can sometimes be filled with um, expectations, can be filled with domestic violence, depression, anxiety. As I did already say, domestic violence, abuse on many different levels, the sense of unfulfillment. All of those things occur when these sisters get into these marriages because the men have already been told that they're going to be the kings or the leaders of their households. Everyone else is subject to them. So they're living their best lives. However, it is the sisters, the women, who are left with vanishing dreams and hopes and desires. And as a matter of fact, none of their desires are going to be met. Let's just get that out the way. A lot of women who go into a marriage, who are raised as Jehovah's Witnesses, go into a marriage as a virgin. They don't know anything about their bodies. They've been taught that masturbation is a bad thing. So they don't know the mechanics of making love. They have no idea. It's all a technical thing. It's all about the technical aspects or the biological aspects of having sex. That's all that they know. They're not told to get pleasure from their husbands. They're not told to have orgasms or seek orgasms from their husbands. They're told that whenever their husband wants to have sex, they need to do that. They need to be available. And 9 times out of 10, these encounters produce children. So imagine that. Imagine that. Now, I'm not trying to say that Jehovah's Witness women, since they don't have a working knowledge of how to making love and what making love really what that really means and what orgasms are and self-love and those things. I'm not saying that if this is something that is strictly a Jehovah's Witness thing, because there are women right now who are not Jehovah's Witnesses who do not understand how their body works, have no working clue as to how their nether regions operate when it comes to pleasuring. It's a lot of women all over the world who are not Jehovah's Witnesses who fall into that same category, but there's hope for them. There's not any hope for Jehovah's Witness women because Jehovah's Witness women are not going to go to their local adult store and pick up some toys to play with themselves or to play with their husbands in the bedroom. That's just not going to happen. Jehovah's Witnesses are told that there's only certain positions that women and men can engage in marriage. Everything else that may appear to be homosexual in nature, all right, they cannot practice it. Anything such as I don't want to get too into the weeds with this, but you just know that anything outside of the missionary is frowned upon. Now, lately, Jehovah's Witnesses have changed their their discussion on sex in the bedroom between married people to say that, whatever goes on in a married couple's bedroom is on them. All right. No one needs to know about it. It's their business. However, it's a caveat to it. If you were to go around telling people that you shop up at the local adult store and you bought a toy and it worked really well, and it's in a positions outside of missionary, well then you can be counseled for that. I've been to bridal showers for Jehovah Witness women, and these bridal showers, you have some risque lingerie and all of that stuff, and it's cool, but really when you come down, think about a bridal shower that is not a religious bridal shower. Not a Jehovah Witness or a Mormon or a Christian fundamentalist bridal shower. You have different things that occur at a bridal shower where like my bridal shower, which was a worldly bridal shower, I got a lot of different gifts. I got lube. I got lube. I got handcuffs. I got toys, all of those things that you know that you should have in your bedroom, okay? To have fun, because that's what sex really is. It's supposed to be fun. All right. It's not just the act of making love. It's about getting pleasure and giving pleasure. And you can do a number of things inside your bedroom. But Jehovah Witness bridal showers do not cater to that side, because basically Jehovah's Witnesses women are taught that their bodies don't belong to them. It belongs to the husband. So they're the big giant toy. They're the big giant toy. They're supposed to give the pleasure and not receive the pleasure. All right. There's so many unfulfilled Jehovah Witness women in the organization. It's ridiculous. But a lot of them don't really know that they're sexually unfulfilled, because they have the idea or the concept that sex is not something for them to necessarily enjoy per se. It's something for their husbands to enjoy, which takes me to another point about love and sex and marriage and dating and Jehovah's Witnesses, is that it's unfortunate that women who are Jehovah's Witnesses get the short end of the stick, period. First of all, they do not get to have any type of leadership role in the organization, in the congregation, or outside of the congregation. They don't get to have any leadership roles. And then even in the family home, within the family home, they don't really get any leadership roles. They may have a little bit of authority over the mundane stuff, like the type of furniture that may be placed in the home, or they may have some type of authority over their children. But when it comes to love, the question of love in the relationship, they really do not have any authority over love, how to be loved, how to demand love and respect. Jehovah's Witness women don't know that, because they don't have a concept really of what love is. All right. When it comes to loving your mate, Jehovah's Witnesses don't even get a chance to spend enough time to build up a love for the person that they're dating and that they're getting, attempting to one day marry and build a life with. Jehovah's Witnesses do not get to a point in the dating relationship where they can really understand what love could be, how love actually works. They don't know. So a lot of times you see Jehovah's Witness relationships, you see people who have been together 5, 10, 20 years. They're not with that person because they love them or because they are in love with them, they're in that relationship with that person because it's expected of them to stay with that person. If you were to go home with that couple, you would see right readily that they don't love each other. They may have been in love with each other at the dating phase and the first maybe year or so of marriage, but then you realize that wasn't really love in the first place. That was something else. That was the eagerness to move on from one level or stage of being a Jehovah's Witness to the next level. You realize that what you need to sustain a good relationship, you don't even have those tools to do so. So you're stuck in a relationship that will never go any further than where it is. I've seen so many Jehovah's Witness marriages where it is obvious that the couple do not like each other. They are very, very unhappy. And in my mind right now, I see one particular couple at this time that they are very, very unhappy together. They've raised 3 daughters. Their daughters are adults now, and they are just very unhappy. But will they leave each other? No. They're not going to leave each other because they were raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And right now they have gotten to the point where the husband is an elder and the wife is a pioneer. And they are, now have become the pillars of the congregation. So, of course, they're not going to leave each other because that's all they know. They're part of the structure now. So yes, they will stick together and they will be together until they die. Now, do they sleep in the same bedroom? Probably not. Are they still intimate? Probably not. Have they grown to love each other? Possibly, but are they in love? No. And there's a difference between being in love as a married couple and loving someone or growing to love someone, which is what the Jehovah's Witnesses really try to teach married couples, is to grow to love each other, and in some aspects to really just put up with one another. That's what Jehovah's Witnesses couples really do. There is a video out, I think it's on this month's JW broadcast, of a married couple who are Jehovah's Witnesses now have like little marriage or marriage counseling videos on their monthly broadcast. And in this month's video, they have this couple who obviously the two of them don't really love each other. They really don't like each other, but they're in a marriage, and so they are expected to stick it out. So, the situation is that the husband, he is disinterested in the dinner party that he has at his home. He's on his phone all the time, scrolling and looking and stuff. And the wife is pointing it out to him. Hey, you need to put that down and become engaged with what's going on right now. And so, the wife is pissed about it because we have this dinner party going on and you're on your phone, right? And the couple are, they're arguing and they're upset, right? And the wife, rightly so, should be upset about her husband's behavior because it's disrespectful to not only the wife, but also to the guest. Well, the way Jehovah's Witnesses, the message within this video is the husband eventually realized that what he did was fucked up, right? Yes, he realizes that. But then the governing body twists it and turns it around to make it seem like the wife was the one that was at fault, that the wife was the one that shouldn't have said anything to her husband, and that the way she said it to her husband when she confronted him was wrong. So at the end of the day, what the video was trying to say is that the couple, they both were wrong in the situation, and that the wife was really wrong for even bringing it up, for even saying or mentioning that her husband, was wrong, and the fact that she was angry. On top of that, the society, the governing body want wives to know that first of all, you don't check your husband, okay, and number two, you don't have any right to be upset with him or angry with him, and you better not express it. That is what the message is in that video. And what the governing body wants Jehovah Witness couples to understand is that you guys are locked into a situation that you can't get out of. So since you know that, it's better to cope with one another and deal with one another, deal with one another's weaknesses and flaws, and learn how to get along, because there is no exit out of this prison. Well, at least that's the message that I got from it, because it did not look like the couple loved each other. All right. And you know, Jehovah's Witness couples, you know, especially if you don't have any children, your routine is crazy, because you got these meetings you got to go to at the Kingdom Hall. You got to so-called study for these meetings. And if you don't have any children, you're expected to be out in field service every other day, if not every single day. So while you are working hard on being a Jehovah's Witness, where does the work come in being a couple who is in love, a married couple? There is no work. Okay, because you're putting all of your time into being a Jehovah's Witness instead of putting all your time into your marriage, into the person that you love. That's another problem with Jehovah's Witnesses and marriage, love, dating, and sex, because it's not about the love. It's not about being in love. It's really about working towards creating communities so you can create bodies within the organization. It's about the numbers. It's never really about the people when it comes to Jehovah's Witnesses. It's always about the numbers, because what do the numbers show? The numbers show or generate dollars. The bodies show or generate dollars. And that's what Jehovah's Witnesses, that's what the organization or the business side of the organization are really looking for. They don't care if you are in love, you fell out of love. They don't really care about any of those things. They want you to keep being the mule or the workhorse to bring in the body so they can continue to get money and grants and loans or whatever they need to get from these governmental entities around the world. That's the bottom line. So yes, you're going to continue to have situations where you have Jehovah's Witness women who are unfulfilled sexually. They are not loved properly like they should be, and they are ending up depressed. They have anxiety. They're seeing psychologists and psychiatrists and counselors. They're on medications, okay, because they are trying to stick it out with this man who they cannot get out of the relationship for. So they are leading lives that will go on unfulfilled, and they will continue to be unhappy and depressed and on psychotropic medications for the rest of their lives, hoping for a paradise when all of their wildest dreams will come true. That's the bottom line. And that's why this organization is destructive to women. And, you know, I haven't even talked about the men yet because, you know, and I did a little bit, but, you know, like I said, this is an organization that's based on patriarchy. This is a misogynistic organization. So if you tell a Jehovah's Witness husband, well, you know, I am not happy in this relationship because I'm not being sexually fulfilled, he's going to be like, what do you mean you're not sexually fulfilled? What does that even mean? You know, how do you even know what that is? First of all, how do you know? On the wedding night for Jehovah's Witnesses, if you're in the organization, you're not going to be watching any porn. You're not going to be reading any books or magazines. I don't even really know how Jehovah's Witnesses get the mechanics down for sex. I don't know. I have no idea because it didn't happen like that for me, but I have no clue. And I would like to know personally, you know, our mothers talking to their daughters and getting them prepared and informed, you know, our girls, Jehovah's Witness girls, going to the doctor when they become fiancés and having that talk with them about the biology of sex, the mechanics of sex, the technical aspects of it. Our Jehovah's Witness girls, are they reading books? Are people sneaking them copies of Jackie Collins' best books on sex? I don't know. I don't know how any of that works. All I know is that when I go to the Kingdom Hall from time to time, I see a lot of unhappy women. I have seen women who have been Jehovah's Witnesses for years and years and years and years, having different uh, counseling sessions. I have seen that. I have stumbled across a person right now who is a psychiatrist, and I have seen her in different locations throughout the city at a Starbucks. I'll just leave it there, with different sisters that I know in the congregation or that I have known, and she is counseling them because they are depressed. And when you see their husbands, you will know why. You can understand why they are depressed. Okay? Flat out. Now, being that I'm a little different and being that my husband was not one of Jehovah's Witnesses, when I met him, I had a really good sexual life. So, I had a really great, fun sexual life with my husband when I got married. And throughout my marriage, I've had a very healthy sexual life. So I don't know what everyone else is going through, but I can tell that a lot of people are unhappy. And then when a couple decides that it's just not working for them, and they do decide to divorce, then they are ostracized. And the person who is ostracized the most is, you guessed it, the wife. But she has decided that she just can't take no more. Okay, she's being unfulfilled in almost every area of her life, especially in the love section and in the intimacy section. She's just being unfulfilled. Her husband is really not supporting the family or her the way he should be. When she's decided that she's had enough and she leaves the marriage, she's the one that's ostracized. She's the one that the elders want to have a good conversation with. Even if her husband is a known loser and he cheats on her repeatedly, what do you think the elders say to that wife? They say that she needs to forgive him. So the burden of the entire marriage is on her shoulders. And if she decides to leave him to go and find the love that she deserves, she's ostracized. She's treated like she's the witch. She's treated like she's the worldly person. She's treated like a Jezebel. I've seen it. I have seen it. So when Jehovah's Witness sisters and women decide to get married, trust me. And then the children start coming. It's just, the only thing that these women can say or do is say or think is that, you know what, when the new world comes or when paradise comes, things will be better for me. No, they won't, because if you're still married to this man, you're going to have to go into paradise with him. You're going to be stuck with this man for eternity. You're going to be stuck with being unfulfilled sexually, no orgasms, no nothing, forever. Oh my goodness. I don't know why I'm laughing, but this religion really sometimes all you can do is to laugh to keep from crying. So let me know what you think about this podcast and my breakdown of love, sex, relationships, dating, and Jehovah's Witnesses, because it's really a trip. And I've seen so many marriages. I've seen so many young Jehovah's Witnesses get married and then get divorced within 2 years. I've seen that a lot. And it really comes down to the fact that these young people wanted to have sex they just had the urge and they just are attracted to someone and they wanted to have sex with them. And because you cannot date and do the things that other people do other people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses do when it comes to dating, which is have sex with them. You can't do that as one of Jehovah's Witnesses. So the person that you are attracted to, you might not love them, not really. You think you love them, but what you really are doing is lusting for their body. You go ahead and you marry them, and then while you married, you realize this is really not the person for you. But you didn't have the time to make that discovery because you was under so much pressure to marry this individual. What about the people who get married and realize that they're not sexually compatible? What about them? Are you just stuck in this situation where you're just sexually unevenly yoked? What happens with that when you have a situation of that nature? So you just go on being sexually unfulfilled for the rest of your life, and going into the new system or new world order where you would be, unequally sexually yoked, unevenly sexually yoked forever to infinity and beyond. I mean, let's think about it, talk about it. I don't know, because that's not my story, but I know that that's the story of a lot of Jehovah's Witness women, a lot of Jehovah's Witness that I have known personally. And because they did not have, they could not date other people within the organization, because they couldn't date outside the organization. They entered a marriage because they was like hot and they wanted to have sex. And you and I both know that there are other rooms in the house outside of the bedroom. You got to live after you engage in intimacy, sexual intimacy. You still have to pay the bills. You still have to interact with this person. You still have to be in a process of building on this relationship. And if in the main area of the house, which is the bedroom, you guys are incompatible in, that's going to be a huge problem in the marriage and in the relationship. And in Jehovah's Witness world, guess what? So sad, too bad, oh well. So thank you so much for enjoying this podcast today. Please make sure that you like and that you subscribe to the channel. We have a challenge going on of reaching 1,000 subscribers this month, hopefully within the next couple of months. So share the love and let me know that you enjoyed this podcast. If there are any other topics that you would like for me to talk on or speak on this podcast, please let me know. Thank you so much. I'm your girl, Nell, and this has been the Blue Lotus Awakening channel. Bye-bye.